what is up? My name is Megan. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I hope you guys are doing well and staying safe, and welcome to this month's TBR slash my TBR game, Candyland Picks My TBR. If you are new here, I basically just use the board for Candyland, and each color corresponds to a different prompt, which I will put up on the screen for you guys. And I basically go off these prompts. If I spin a same color 3 times within the same game, like within the same month, then I have to add an extra spin as well. And if I don't finish my month's previous TBR, I also have to add a spin. Because this month I am fully off work and also planning on going away for some time, I decided to increase my number of spins because hopefully I will be reading more. So I originally wanted there to be 8 spins. Now it is still unclear whether or not I will have finished my May TBR. I am hopeful because I've read almost all the books and there's like 6 days left until the end of the month at the time of filming this. But because I haven't actually completed, I will add an extra spin just to hold myself accountable and, you know, just making sure if I don't get to one book that there's no cheating in this game. So we are up to 9 spins, and as I explained, we can end up with multiple more spins if we fall 3 times on the same color within the same month's TBR. So with all that explaining aside, let's just hop on in to our first spin. So last month we ended on a yellow, so we are starting back from this point. Let's go for roll number 1. And that is a pink lollipop. So we are moving right here, but it turns out the prompt will be green because the green is where the lollipop is at. Our first spin fell on the pink lollipop. Pink is usually a free pick, however, when I fell on the lollipop, it was actually a green prompt. Now the green prompt necessitates this jar here because it is a random prompt. So I'm going to pick from this, and then with that we are going to pick a book. So let's dive in. I feel like I picked up a few. Let's go for this one here, and it is a 2022 release. I feel like that is not a bad prompt. Again, these prompts I put back in the jar and I just reuse them. Let me figure out what we're going to read. So for this prompt, I might be stretching it just a little bit, but not really. I'm going to go with Wild by Michaela Smeltzer. This book was originally published in 2018 with a different name, a different cover, and I think she made some adjustments to it when she republished it in 2022. So I'm going to make it count because it says copyright 2022, so it's not really cheating, is it? This, I think, is a dual perspective romance, and it follows a band called The Wild, and they are having a big break, and they signed with this record label, and one of the rules for this band is for them not to get in contact, not get close to the producer's daughter, and obviously our main male character is going to fall in love with her, and it's just everything I enjoy in a book. It has the rock star element, which I am chef's kiss. It's dual perspective. It's the first book in a series. These books are obnoxiously expensive for no reason, but I feel like this is a 5-star prediction, so going on the list. Would like to read this while on vacation. Let's go for spin number 2. Oof, another green. The second prompt was also green. So again, let's pick from the jar. Let's go for this one. I don't even know if you guys are going to be able to see this. A book with a map, and I know exactly, I think, what I'm going to pick for this one. For this second prompt, I'm going to be very bold and go with Zodiac Academy. This actually has a map right in front, and you know what, I want to hop on this romantasy bandwagon, and I feel like this is going to be the kind of book that I'm just going to be able to binge, and that's exactly what I'm in the mood for. This is about 2 sisters, I think, and there's like multiple POVs in here, and it has to do with, like, I don't know if it's fae or fantastical creatures, and like it's beautiful, but I think what I'm most excited about is the romances in here. I feel like I've seen a lot of people say that these are just like bingeable, sort of like you would watch like a terrible TV show but like love it at the same time. I feel like this is going to be my experience with Zodiac Academy. Honestly, I don't know too much about the series. I've just seen so much hype surrounding it, so I wanted to give it a try, and I think this is the perfect month to do so. I think there are currently 8 books released in the series, and they are awaiting the 9th and final book. Very hyped. Spin number 3, and we have a red. The third spin got us to red, and red is indie published. Now, for this, I am going to go with Vacation Wars by Megan Quinn. This sounds absolutely adorable. I think this is going to be the first Megan Quinn I pick up. I do have more than one of her books on my shelf, but this one is calling to me. It feels like all the vacation vibes and such a great summer read. This is a story that takes place in Santorini, Greece. We follow a main character whose sister is about to get married, but when they were younger, they had this pact that our main character should get married first, because I think because she's the older sibling, but she has not yet married. She doesn't even have a boyfriend, and so they spend the time before the wedding trying to get our main character to date, and I think she stumbles upon a childhood friend, and it is their romance. I also believe that this is a dual perspective book. It is pretty chunky for a romance, I feel, but again, I am very hopeful for this one. Prompt number 4 is green. So if we get one other green, we have to add an extra spin. The next spin, yet again, brought us to a green. However, this doesn't technically count for a third green because the original spin prompt was pink for the first one. So we're still good, but we're hanging by a thread. Let's go for another prompt. What does this one say? Oh, I like this. TikTok inspired. I can show you guys. I'm not sure it's gonna focus. Voila. Love that prompt. Let me figure this one out. I am going to stretch this prompt a little bit to fit book talk / booktube, because to me they are both high influences into what I pick up, and I'm going to go with The Neighbor Favor by Christina Forrest. This is a book I've heard mostly about on booktube, but I have seen some reviews on booktube and book talk, so it fits the prompt. This is essentially everything I love in a book into one. I already know I love Christina Forrest. She has written some YA books prior, and I love them. This follows a main character who is very shy, and she dreams of becoming a children's book editor, so that's already pretty cool. And she ends up striking this conversation online with one of her favorite fantasy authors, and it's kind of them just chatting away, and I think they end up having this sort of connection, but our main character feels like she needs to take it upon herself to like meet people in real life, and I think for some reason she enlists the help of her neighbor. I guess it's going to be like an agreement where both of them benefit from this. And essentially what she doesn't know is that her neighbor is actually that fantasy author, and so they are creating a connection in real life, but they also have a connection online, and it plays into that kind of like you've got mail trope, and I'm a sucker for those books, and I have been anticipating getting this book for so long, and now that I have it, I really want to read it, and hopefully it becomes one of my favorites. Let's go for spin number 5. And that is another green. So far we have a very heavy romance TBR. I would like to get some middle grade in there as well. We shall see. The next spin also brought us to green, so we need to add an extra prompt as well to this TBR. So we are now up to 10 books. Let's pick from this jar. Oh my god, why do I have 2 in my fingers? Okay, we'll go with this one. TBR Throwback. Can you guys see? Voila. What this means is that I go back to other TBRs and I pick a book from another TBR which I have not read. So let me refer back to my other videos and catch up with you guys. So I went back and I looked at a few of my TBRs, and 2 books right now are calling my name. One of them is The Messy Lives of Book People, and the other one is Mile High. Now the question is, do I want to add even more romance to my TBR? This is more like literary fiction. Maybe I'll get you guys to pick. Please comment down below what I should add to my TBR. And it'll be one of those, I think. Let me know your opinion on both of these adorable books, and I will pick whatever you guys choose. Let's go for spin number 6, and that is orange. The next prompt fell on orange, and we have that for the first time since I started doing my game again. Orange is self-destruct. If you haven't seen my These Books Will Self-Destruct in 6 months video, I will leave it in the cards for you guys, but I essentially picked a book from there. And for this month, I went with The Rebel by Kendall Ryan. This is a dual perspective hockey romance. These books have like hardly any font in them, so it should go by very quickly, and I do adore Kendall Ryan, and I feel like this is a good book to have on my TBR in case of a slump. If I'm feeling slumpy, this will definitely be a pick-me-up. It is also the first book in a series of 4 books. I do own the 3 first ones, so it would only be logical for me to start reading them. So we are going with The Rebel. Let's go for spin number 7. Another red. We then fell on red again, and red is indie romance or indie book, but for me it usually means romance because I don't think I read anything else that's self-published. And for that, I'm going to go with Iced Out by Veronica Eden. This is another hockey romance. I had actually never heard of this book. I just found it online and I was like, this sounds very interesting. I believe this is also dual perspective, and it's like a hockey captain and a girl who wants nothing to do with hockey players. They fall in love. It sounds quite adorable, and again, I have been binging hockey romances this past year, like the couple of months that have just went by, and I'm still obsessed with them. So what better book to put on my TBR? I feel like I could make a straight up hockey romance vlog at this point. Love that for me. Let's go for spin number 8. A double yellow. The next prompt fell on yellow, and that means we are picking out from this jar. If you are new and haven't heard me speak of the F1 readathon, it's a readathon I found on Instagram. It goes from March to November, and it's based off prompts related to drivers, and just different countries and everything related to F1. I love Formula 1, so let's pick from the jar. We'll go with this one. Prompt 22. Everyone's a Ferrari fan. Read a book with red on the cover. I apparently cannot speak, but let me find a book that has red on the cover. We are going to go with something a little bit lighter for this one, which is a manga. This is the first in the Toilet Bound series. This I heard of first from Jade from January Reads. It is a manga about a school, like it's set in a school and there's mysteries to be solved, and it looks both like funny and mysterious at the same time, and I've been intrigued ever since she started reading them, so I got myself the first volume, and this clearly fulfills the prompt because the whole cover is red. Spin number 9, which should have been our last spin, is a blue. The next spin brought us to blue, which is also a color we hadn't seen before since my return of this game, and blue is a TBR vet. For the sake of this video, a TBR vet is actually a book that I have owned physically on my TBR for more than 6 months, and for that we are going with Sunkissed by Casey West. This I'm scared to read because I feel like I need to love this book, and I've had it on my shelf for like, what, 2 years now? But I still haven't read it because I'm afraid I'm not going to like it, and I don't know why, because as of now, all of Casey West's later books I've loved. Like for the past 3 years-ish, all of her releases have really worked for me, so I think this is going to be a fun one. This is about a main character named Avery who got in a fight with her best friend, and after that she goes away with her parents. They have this tradition where they go to this place for like 3 months for the summertime, and I guess it's her story about like making friends there, getting over what happened with her best friend, and also falling in love. And you can just not go wrong with the Casey West book. If you know me, if you've been here before, I love Casey West to death. This cover screams summertime and vacation, and it is the vibe I'm going for. So this is on the TBR. So many books, you can start seeing them stack up. And our last and final spin is orange. We have made it to the Frost Palace, but still not to the end, so no rewards for this time. And our last and final spin brought us to orange, which again is a book that will self-destruct in 6 months. If you haven't seen my video, I am going to pick Under the Whispering Door by TJ Klune. I recently got his 3rd book, and I really need to like get a move on with his novels, so I think this is going to be the perfect book to read. This looks adorable, but also kind of emotional. I feel like it's going to be a good break from all the romance that I have been reading, so this is definitely going on the TBR as well. So this is my stack, which honestly sort of terrifying, also very exciting. But there are other books that are coming out, or that I'm anticipating receiving in June, that I would like to read. 3 of them specifically. One of them is the newest Casey West release, which is coming out I think June 14th, and that is Borrow My Heart, which, look at this freaking masterpiece of a cover. I cannot. Unfortunately, it's only coming out in paperback, and I usually collect her books in a hardback, but it is what it is. I don't even know the synopsis of this. I just pre-ordered it, and I'm excited for it because it's Casey West. I love her. I read everything. We also have Yellow Face by R.F. Kuang, which is not usually what I would read, but this one specifically really sounds intriguing to me. It is about this main character whose friend, who was like a famous author, passes away, and that friend was Chinese American, and our main character steals her manuscript and publishes it as her own, and it's this whole like stealing identities and the difficulties of being published when you are a non-white author, and there's a lot of discussions going on, as well as it being kind of like a mystery thriller at the same time, and you are in the head of an unlikable character. I'm very excited to see how this is handled, but I've only seen excellent reviews so far. And the last book that I am anticipating is Green Wild, which is the first book in a new middle grade series. It is on its way to me now, and I really want to read it in the month of June. It's like a no-brainer that this has to be read. So it's unofficially on the TBR because I don't even have any middle grade on here, which is kind of a tragedy, but we are going to make it work. We're going to read all of the books this month. So that's it for this video. Leave a sunshine emoji if you've made it this far, and I'll see you very soon with another video. Bye guys, happy reading.